Why is it so hard for the modern woman to submit to a man?
Ooh.
I love
So
that question.
for me, I think it's so hard for modern women to submit because they don't really know what true submission actually is. Um, and when I say that, to me, we just talked about it. Submission is almost like a form of peace. It's like this is how things are, and I can't do nothing else about it. So just it's more like a release for me. It's like a
Mm.
release. I'm releasing to what God has given me, and I'm gonna allow him to move in my life, and I'm gonna follow it. That's what it is for me. That's just a confirmation to me. But it's been labeled and put out there, and I think sometimes it's almost darn near said abusively. A woman needs to submit to her husband, and who? I mean, that doesn't ring as you know flowers and fresh air. That rings as bad. Go, woman, get in there and do what I said to do. That doesn't ring like it should ring. It should have a ring to it as,
Uh,
but it's been enforced a different way. So that's why I think submission is such a pushback. You know.
that makes
Can I
sense.
add?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, good question, Mr. Rucker. I think a lot of women who have had difficulty submitting are kind of held up as the standard. So I don't think every modern woman has a problem submitting. I think some of us are looking forward to submitting. And I do think we have to be able to trust to submit. And I'm talking about in marital context. I'm not talking about submitting before you marry me. Just let's be clear. But in a marital context, once you can trust a man, you don't have no problem with the submission. And I just think it's a conscious decision. I think once your husband is like your peace, your source, in various ways, I do think you kind of just fall in alignment. Most of us, and I would just speak of Black women of a certain age, we grew up in the church. We understand headship. And I do think, there's confusion in, social media and pop culture about, a man telling you what to do as submission. That's not what submission is. So I think some of the pop culture, these same women like get out there, do that when they at home. Yes, baby. No, baby is what they're actually saying, but they telling you to rough up your man. But when they go home, they know what time it is. So I think,
Mm.
yeah, there's this kind of overplaying of, and I don't know if it's maybe by design to the detriment of the Black family, to promote this idea that we won't submit or we can't submit, or it makes you less of a woman to submit. But I do think if that man already has that, established heart space in your life, in your spirit, I think it will naturally flow.
Yep.
And then there will be times, obviously, submission doesn't happen until there's disagreement. And when you're like, oh, okay, you want to wear what? You want to what? Okay. And then you got to make sure, even if the Jamaicans would say, even if he gonna buck his toe, right? Stub his toe. Sometimes you have to go over for the ride. The stubbing happens. You don't throw it in his face, but you say, all right, baby, so can I suggest what I think we might want to do or whatever? So I think it's like a growth process. It's a maturing process. I don't think everybody gets it right out the gate, depending on their age and stage. But I do think there's this pop culture pushback against what is the stereotype of what submission is. But I don't believe it's lordship. I believe it's sourceship. Once you're my source, we got to align. So I think there's a different kind of, I don't want to say bastardized view, but a view that's not necessarily biblical, that's being pushed forward as like, be submissive. I don't think
Mm.
that's really what it is.
All right, like that answer.
So
I want to. Okay.
go ahead. I was going to say, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was gonna say, added on to that is there's a lot of onus put on the woman, like the woman doesn't want to submit, the woman doesn't want to submit, but there's men out there that doesn't even know how to fall into that role of being a man so that woman could submit to her. So there's women that are submitting to the wrong men and then come out scorned and be like, I'm never gonna submit, that didn't work, but you
Yeah.
submitted to the wrong
Oh,
man.
that's a word. That's a word.
You
That's
did
a word.
not submit to a man that was worthy to be submitted to. He did not
Mhm.
possess that leadership, protector, provider, that onus of being a man.
Being
So
responsible for you.
yeah, so
That has
I
to be
think
his heart calling.
a lot of people are trying to make it like, oh, the women has the problem of the submission, but men, you need to know what it means to be a man too. Yeah.
But to your point, if one person mess it up, the next person not gonna get that woman's submission.
Yeah.
If one man was the wrong person that they submitted to, they coming in guns blazing. Some of us. If we didn't go to therapy and we didn't get healed and we didn't work on ourselves to say, okay, that wasn't my fault. He's not like every man. I can do this and I can try this with a different one who has that
Right.
kingship about him. But
Right.
if they're still hurting from the first time they did it, oh my darling, I'm sorry for when you get her, because she's not gonna do it.
Oh yeah,
Problems.
terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. We can't deal with
You
Scarborough.
know that's in the prenup though, that she has to submit. Okay, you know that. So, and he has it lined up what she has
That's
to
in the
do.
paperwork, honey.
Yeah.
Look, you signed this.
I'm ready, you know, like when men are ready to lead and everything, let's put it in writing, you know. So if we got to submit to somehow, submit to the prenup first.